We need survivors to be taken seriously. There should never be a time limit on justice.
As victims of this crime and citizens of this country, we will not stand for it.
As calls for justice from survivors grow louder, more details are emerging about the wealthy and powerful men who had ties to notorious convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Prosecutors say for decades, Epstein ran a scheme to solicit, abuse, and traffic underage girls. He died in a New York prison in 2019 while awaiting trial.
This is the longest running sex trafficking operation in U.S. history.
For years, attorneys for survivors have sought accountability from Epstein's powerful co-conspirators.
How did this go on for so long? How were so many very important, prestigious people involved in this? And how is there no adult in the room to say this is wrong?
According to the criminal indictment, Epstein's victims were as young as 14 years old. Prosecutors say Epstein and his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, preyed on disadvantaged girls who were more at risk for abuse. They say he exploited their vulnerabilities, enticing them with cash to perform sexual acts and recruit more victims, creating a vast network across several states that provided a steady supply of young new victims to exploit. A former South Florida police sergeant turned private investigator says Epstein specifically targeted vulnerable children and girls, telling the USA Today in 2019, quote, "The more vulnerable and the younger the better."
They were bringing young girls in, and they were from backgrounds where they didn't have a lot of options. Many of them didn't have parents that were, supporting.
Political columnist Eleanor Cliff says this may be a moment of reckoning for the prominent politicians and business leaders who had close relationships with Epstein.
It's a slow-moving tsunami, was how I would describe this, and a lot of people are going to get overwhelmed.
In January, the U.S. Department of Justice released more than 3 million pages from the Epstein files, including pictures, videos, and messages exposing some of Epstein's previously unknown connections to some of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the world.
Entrenched in the higher echelons of not just Washington, globally, we're seeing the impact it's having in the UK and other countries. The reputational damage is extraordinary, and people, not necessarily people who are front page names, but there are some of those too.
Cliff says a mention in the files is not proof of any wrongdoing or criminal actions, but many are already experiencing the fallout. This month, one of Dubai's most influential businessmen, Sultan Ahmad bin Sulayem, resigned from DP World after he appeared in the latest release of files. Then days later, billionaire Tom Pritzker retired as chairman of Hyatt Hotels. Sports and entertainment executive Casey Wasserman announced he will sell his company after his communications with Epstein's partner Ghislaine Maxwell were uncovered. He's also facing growing pressure to step down as chairman of the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics. Wednesday, billionaire real estate mogul Les Wexner told lawmakers in a deposition that he'd been conned by his financial advisor Epstein after congressional investigators discovered Wexner transferred about $1 billion in cash and stock to the late sex offender. Wexner has denied any wrongdoing. Peter Mandelson, the UK's former ambassador to Washington, is now under investigation for alleged misconduct, accused of leaking sensitive information to Epstein. And months after British Prince Andrew was stripped of his royal titles due to his ties to Epstein and sex trafficking allegations, Thursday the former prince arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Police say he shared confidential information with Epstein while serving as UK trade envoy.
We now understand how widespread this was, how many people were involved. He had tentacles everywhere. So everybody knew what he was about. It's not like, okay, maybe they didn't do anything that would be considered wrongdoing, but it was apparently not a secret.
And Epstein's partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, could provide a lot of important information about who was involved in the abuse. She's currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role in the trafficking operation. And earlier this month, she declined to answer questions from lawmakers on Capitol Hill and invoked her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Walter Moore, CGTN, Washington.